rivers, streams, and other water courses. Acknowledging the gravity of this unfolding situation, the Cabinet has met 3 times over the last 10 days to provide leadership on a whole-of-government response to this crisis. To support disaster response and mitigation efforts across the country, the Treasury has been directed to provide adequate resources and work with other development partners to provide for the purchase and supply of food, medical, and other non-food items. County security committees are directed to determine on a case-by-case basis the radius that shall constitute the scope of the area subject to evacuation and mandatory relocation that has already been pronounced. The county security committees are further directed to continuously monitor other dams and water reservoirs across the country that may not be presenting a risk now, but could do so in the event of further precipitation. The Kenya Defence Forces and the National Police are directed to deploy resources, personnel, and equipment for carrying out coordinated public safety and risk mitigation operations in as many parts of the country as they have installations. Security agencies are further directed to enlist the support of the National Youth Service and work with the National Government Administration officers to respond to this emergency, including ensuring timely, orderly, and human evacuation of all persons at risk. Cabinet secretaries will spearhead disaster response and mitigation efforts across the country, and to this end, ministries, departments, and agencies are directed to work closely with the National Disaster Operations Center and security agencies to ensure the whole-of-government approach to the management of the prevailing crisis. The government, working with stakeholders, has put in place adequate measures to provide temporary shelter, as well as food and non-food essential supplies. The ministry responsible for special programs is directed to work with development partners and relevant humanitarian organizations to mobilize adequate food and non-food supplies to support all affected persons in every part of the country. The Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development, through the National Cereals and Produce Board, is directed to make available food supplies in government stores to support this effort. The Ministry of Health is directed to work with development partners, including the World Health Organization, AMREF, Red Cross, UNHCR, World Food Programme, and other relevant humanitarian agencies to mobilize resources and logistical support to avail essential drugs, food, and other medical supplies to those affected. The Ministry of Interior is directed to coordinate the relocation and evacuation of the affected members of the public, identification of sites for temporary shelter for displaced persons, and supervise the overall support program. The Ministry of Education is directed to postpone the dates of reopening of all schools in the country for the second term until further notice. Members of Parliament are requested to reorganize the CDF allocations to prioritize reconstruction of school infrastructure that has been damaged as a result of the floods ravaging the country. As the national government plays its role in dealing with the current situation, I request and urge county governments, development partners, and private sector to join in these efforts and provide support as, where, and when they can. In Nairobi, settlements in riparian reserves have complicated the response efforts and compounded and aggravated the risk to human life, safety, and property destruction.